big good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Gantry TV. It is another season here in RTA Virtual Motorsports, and we see the single-seaters in the past. It is the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup live here from the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao. This has been a highly anticipated season. The drivers are looking forward to this one, and myself, Evan Dalton, is looking forward to it as well. Another man looking forward to it is the man alongside me, the fabulous Kieran McGinley. He's gone back-to-back now in Gantry streams for the first time in a long time.
Oh, it's good to be back, though. Good to have the back-to-back. Yep, the end of last season and the start of this one. And where better to go than the Algarve roller coaster that is Portimao? Yes, what a fantastic circuit this season opener brings us to. Shame about the weather, but you know what? That does give in the great neutralizer, isn't it? The rain, the wet weather. It really does test the driver's ability and adhesion, I guess, into some of these corners.
Yeah, of course, we had the no rain for the whole of last season due to the Formula V's not having the rain on iRacing. So I imagine we're going to get a fair bit of it here this season in the LMP2s. As you can see, it is a soggy day here in the Algarve, untraditional Portuguese weather, but the drivers will have to tackle it from start to finish. But it is the Dallara P217 car, or more commonly known as an LMP2. There is other ones, but this is certainly the most popular choice. The LMP2 car that races in the European Le Mans Series and in the World Endurance Championship for the Le Mans 24 Hours of Le Mans only. It is a car loved by, I think, pretty much everyone, Kieran.
Yeah, it's well balanced all around, and a 4.2 litre Gibson V8 underneath with the 6-speed gearbox. I mean, what's not to love about this one? It's got just about enough aero to get you through the corners, but just lacking that aero to make sure the racing is close. I mean, we've seen some close times all the way through practice here. We've got a pretty stacked grid coming up as well. Looks like we've got 32 entries into tonight, so that is fantastic for the season opener. And from the times we've seen so far, yeah, we've got some good times coming in. Top 5 separated by just about a second, and this is just in the first few stages of qualifying. Top 9 separated by 2 seconds, but the intervals between them are just such few and far between tenths of a second. You're talking an average of 0.3 of a second intervals between each driver, so it's absolutely brilliant here. And there is Peter McCann, currently 11th fastest right now, really testing this Portuguese roller coaster right now.
Yes, as of course, in typical Peter McCann fashion, he decides to pull off to the left-hand side as we go with him on the stream. But coming up to the end of practice, qualifying will be starting shortly. We have a big list of names to that left-hand side, I think more than any of the races in the Formula V's. But yeah, it's a bit of a star-studded RTA grid, I suppose you could say. We have a couple of returning drivers, we have a couple of fan favourites, and we have the drivers who are traditionally seen at the top. One of them, who we are looking at now, Conor Amelia, who picked up 1 win last season in the Formula V's and 3 podiums. He'll probably be sad to see the back of the single-seaters. And I suppose we are seeing the back of the single-seaters, Kieran, which means we might see some of the traditionally single-seater experts dropping down the order a little bit, and a bit of a grid shuffle.
Yeah, it has happened before, hasn't it? And we'll see Jordan Kelly, see how he gets on as we begin our first qualifying session of the season. 15 minutes on the clock, and look at that Armada making its way out of the pit lane just to try and find some space out on track. We'll keep an eye as well and see if the rain returns, because that looks like it's not raining right now. But you know, looking at the sky, it's still pretty grey. Even still, a beautiful day to go racing.
Yes, it is damp, but it's not raining, so it's probably a pleasant surprise for those in the grandstands, but doesn't make much of a difference to the drivers for now. But it is a tricky Algarve International Circuit here for round 1 of the season. 4.653 kilometres, 2.891 miles with 15 corners, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. The lap record here is, of course, by the Formula 1 drivers when they visited here in 2020, but more importantly, it is about a 400-metre run from the pole position grid slot to the first corner. Again, pretty sure that is irrelevant here, as I believe we have rolling starts in this LMP2 class, so the drivers will not have to worry too much about getting the launch. That's good news for Sean McClements, who became notorious for a bit of a jump start last season. He is not necessarily looking forward to this race as much as he was in the Formula V's. He needs a bit of time to get used to the cars, and that's something we see regardless of the car itself, Kieran. The drivers need a little bit of time to adapt.
Yeah, it is raining again, so that short little stint we had at the start, it's gone now. We're back to rain again here in the Algarve. But yes, as you say, the rolling start, the drivers won't have to worry about the clutches. There were a couple of clutch issues and start issues last season, the Formula V's, when we had to start from the standing starts. None of that this time. It's just all about reaction and making sure you don't get left behind in the pack. We're starting too wide. It's a very interesting first corner at Portimao, as there's Dermot Toomey, who's going slowly at the moment, perhaps just letting some of the pack go through. I think that's just before Sagres then. And sorry, it is Evan Walsh. Apologies. I've just had it corrected in my ear there. So Evan Walsh is just slowly making his way towards the final couple of corners and finds himself a little bit of space out on track. That's going to be so difficult with 32 drivers trying to find their way around this circuit, trying to make some space their own. But it looks like Evan Walsh has found his little bit of space out on track. Dylan McClements, of course, one to watch as well. Managed to rack up a win last season and a whole heck of podiums. But yeah, speaking to him at the end of last season, it was a case of there were some races just felt like a missed opportunity, but still managed to rack up the one victory last season. But perhaps this season he can go much further way of converting more of those podiums to wins.
Yeah, that's what you got to do if you want to win the championship. Ronan Doherty, of course, is championship winner in the Formula V's last season, and he had 13 wins compared to Dylan's 1. So Dylan maybe had the consistency throughout the season, but Ronan certainly scored the big points. You're looking at Michael O'Donoghue currently heading into the left-hander, a name who we've not seen on an RTA grid before. And I tell you what, he's come in and is starting with a bit of a bang because he was quickest in practice, currently purple in the first of 3 sectors in qualifying here in Portimao. Ronan Doherty quickest in the middle. O'Donoghue heading through the final right-hander. You can see running what looks to be a JTM livery. So for the final corner, avoiding the puddles on the right-hand side, O'Donoghue going to be one to set the banker time, and Dylan McClements actually goes quickest, but then he is beaten by Michael O'Donoghue. First man in the 44s, Jordan Kelly. Little step off the pace with a 47.9. Ronan Doherty, 44.5. TJ Taff, just about over a 45. He's on the 45 flat as well. And then Sean McClements goes to 8. Sean McGoldrick down in 3rd, but that's a decent lap there by him, and Logan Hoy goes to 7. Sean McGoldrick, a man who has had some success in an endurance-y type car recently, himself and Tony Stack picking up the victory in the RTA Endurance Series, narrowly beating a team that shall not be named for the sake of my job.
Yeah, and probably the good reason why. Anyway, we've got a Sean McGoldrick here, who's early contender for a great livery of the season. We always look out for them. That Lotus. Oh, that was close. That was very close. That sort of 2011 to 2012 Lotus livery then almost reminds me of Kimi Räikkönen. And
he almost had a Pastor Maldonado moment into the hairpin.
Oh. Well, you know what? Leave him alone. He knows what to do.
He does, and Sean McGoldrick last season, only 18th in the championship, but didn't race as much as he might have liked to, and had a lot of bad luck as well. We're 5 minutes into qualifying, and that's always a good time to ride on board with the man who is in 12th place, Jordan Kelly, who I think we've missed his hot laps as of recent. We didn't get as many in the Formula V's, and we tried to do live ones. They were an absolute disaster. So thankfully, we have the recorded hot lap from Jordan Kelly here around this Portimao circuit. Almost 5 kilometres of it, down towards the first corner course. As Kieran said earlier, this is Premiere. It's a right-hander. You don't want to track extend too much on that left-hand side. You will pick up a slowdown. Then it's in through the kink of 2. A little bit of a slide into the braking zone of turn number 3 of Lagos. And you lock the wheels fully to the right-hand side as you head uphill through turn number 4. There's a lot of elevation change on this circuit. One of the big overtaking points on the track is down towards Torre Veep. This is in towards the left-hander, and it is a tricky hairpin. You can see the drivers avoiding the apex there on the left-hand side. There's a puddle there, so they're running the wide line. Then it is the flat corner at turn number 6 in all conditions, and what seems like it should be a flat right-hander through turn number 7. It absolutely isn't. Dab on the brakes, lift off it, a little bit of a downshift depending on the driving style, then up to the corner of Samsung of turn number 8. Yes, the same name as the a technology company. That's Craig Jones of turn number 9, the uphill corner, and then they ran out of names for this next one. This is turn 10 and 11 of Portimao. Once again, avoiding the inside curb on the right-hand side is Jordan Kelly. You can see the spray from the car in front as he flicks it through turn number 12. Braking zone at turn number 13. If you're feeling really audacious, you might be able to try one down the inside here before teeing up for the final braking zone of the circuit. This is through Segrais. You're trying to maximize your exit through the up and downhill corner of Galp. The long sweeping right-hander, longest corner on the circuit is Galp. Jordan Kelly pulls out of the spray in front and took straight back in for a bit of a slipstream towards the start-finish line, and a job well done from Jordan indeed, even picking up a little bit of grass at the end.
Yeah, you didn't see a lot of that final corner with the amount of spray that was being kicked up there. Nevertheless, Jordan Kelly managed to keep it out on the track, and, well, whilst we were away, he's taken provisional pole position as well and just lowered it even more. 1 minute 42.7 is the time to beat right now, as Ronan Doherty goes even quicker than that. 1 minute 42.5 from Ronan Doherty puts himself now at provisional top of the standings. The reigning champion of last season, looking to pick up exactly where he left off last season.
Yeah, Ronan Doherty, top of the order. Jordan Kelly, second. That's a familiar sentence here in the world of RTA. Michael O'Donoghue then in third. Sean McGoldrick in fourth. Conor Mealia fifth. And it is Dylan and Sean McClements in sixth and seventh. Rory O'Shea in eighth. TJ Taff in ninth, with Peter McCann rounding us out in 10th. And improvement from Kevin Joyce there. He's jumped up to 15th. CJ O'Sullivan, another newcomer, jumps up to 18th spot. We had a lot of newcomers in the Formula V's last season, and that is the same again here as CJ. Just being overtaken around the outside by someone through turn number 1 and 2. Evan Walsh improves to 11, just behind his firing partner Peter McCann. There's less than a tenth of a second separating those two. Remember, of course, qualifying sets the grid for race number 1. Then the race number 1 result sets the grid for race number 2. And then the top 8 of race number 2 will be reversed for race number 3. So qualifying is important for the first heat, but does not matter for 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's about where you finish after that. And for Dylan McClements, who's just gone purple through sector 1, Jordan Kelly's just gone purple through sector 2. Let's watch on Dylan McClements as he has gone purple through the first sector. What can he do then as he makes his way through Galp, the final corner, the 15th corner of the circuit, before you make your way over that rise then and heading towards the start-finish line? What can Dylan McClements do? He set the second fastest time. 1 minute 42.6 from Dylan McClements puts him right now on the front row of the grid. It's now down to the second row because Michael O'Donoghue has set a 1 minute 42.2, and that's 0.3 quicker there or thereabouts than Ronan Doherty. So the lap times are getting quicker. The drivers getting more confident in these conditions as well. A bit of a mixture of drivers getting better used to the conditions and getting a bit more confidence behind them to allow to take a little bit more speed through a couple of corners then. And that's a pink machine that's kind of facing the wrong way there, but has managed to rejoin onto the circuit. But there is your current pole position man, Michael O'Donoghue. It was Hollywood who was facing the other way then. Jonathan Hollywood, who's currently 28th fastest in qualifying.
Yep, there's Brandon McCaughrean, who crosses the start-finish line to go 9th in qualifying. Brandon, of course, another name you might not be familiar with, but he has had a good career so far in the world of motorsport, and he also has a bit of familiarity with this Portimao circuit. Was racing here in an actual race just a couple of weeks ago. He made his Leisure European Series debut here in Portimao, and of course Brandon as well this season has raced in GB4 and in national Formula 4 races across the UK, and he's been a race winner in GB4. So the man from Ballycastle has had a good year so far, and he's looking to end it with a potential championship or strong result here in the world of sim racing. Michael O'Donoghue and Dylan McClements are both trading purple sectors at this point. Ronan Doherty not going quickest overall, but it is improving on his personal best. And there goes Dylan McClements, top of the order. So he's finding time, he's finding grip. Dylan McClements, Ronan Doherty, two drivers who have always done well in wet conditions. And then Michael O'Donoghue, we're just getting used to.
Yeah, we're just getting started, aren't we? Dylan McClements then first driver into the 1 minute 41s here, as Michael O'Donoghue not too far behind either, as McClements makes his way now through in towards turn 4, then over that crest, and now on that short run. It's a relatively short run compared to the start-finish line down towards Torre Vip. We're watching there TJ Taft make his way now through in towards turn 4 now in that Red Bull livery, the number 22. Gives Yuki Tsunoda vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks like the Turkish Grand Prix livery from 2021 as well. But number 22 in a Red Bull livery. Will we be seeing that next season? That's for the world of Twitter to argue about. TJ Taff currently in 7th position ahead of Peter McCann, and that is Taff, of course, that we are looking at. TJ, decent debut last season in the Formula V Championship, but he did have a lot of PC issues. He's ironed out those technical difficulties here for the LMP2s, and he's looking for a strong campaign. Certainly looking to beat Logan Hoy and Kyle Irvine, his two real-life racing rivals.
Yeah, and it's always really good to get one over your rivals over the course of a season. And TJ here, currently 7th fastest, so he's going the right way about it. Brian McCarthy currently inside of the top 10 right now with a 1 minute 43.8 as he makes his way now down in towards Torre Vip. We'll get the power down and look to see what he can do. I think that's right behind Dylan McClements there in the number 88, which McClements is running this season. It can't be him because he's just crossed the line to complete a lap time. So I'm not sure who I picked up, but there we go. Michael O'Donoghue across the line then, 42.1 from him, as Ronan Doherty has now gone quickest. 41.6 from Doherty puts himself now at the top of the table. And well, with not long left on the clock, you have to say for Ronan Doherty, this is his final chance to see if he can make any improvement on that.
Yes, remember here on iRacing, folks, once the clock strikes 15, that is qualifying done. You do not have the continuation of your current lap. You are finished. And Ronan Doherty currently quickest to the order. And then it is Dylan McClements, Jordan Kelly and Michael O'Donoghue. Can Michael O'Donoghue pull something out of his back pocket here to get back up to the lofty heights of pole position where he has sat for the majority of the session? Rory O'Shea, good qualifying so far. He goes to 5th. Brandon McCaughan improves to 12th spot, just beats Brian McCarthy. A little bit down the order as well. Sean McClements has improved to 6th spot, I should say, just ahead of his fellow Sean McGoldrick. O'Shea, a little bit wide of the apex there, but that seems to be a tactical position from drivers. Jordan Kelly in the pits, his day is done. It seems to be between McClements, O'Donoghue, and of course the current pole sitter, Ronan Doherty.
Doherty's in the pit lane then, so Doherty has decided either the last lap wasn't going to be good enough or otherwise he's back in the pit lane then. Dylan McClements, who's just gone green through the first 2 sectors, so he's setting a personal best through the first 2 sectors. What can he do then as he'll make his way onwards then towards the start-finish line? Michael O'Donoghue making his way towards the line as well to set the final attempt. Then Dylan McClements does fall down into the 141s, but it's not enough to improve his position. Michael O'Donoghue goes 2nd fastest now, 1 minute 41.7 from O'Donoghue, puts him now onto the front row of the grid with Dylan McClements now in 3rd place.
Yes, so Ronan Doherty seems to have survived the 2 laps from O'Donoghue and McClements. We'll see, is there anyone else around the order? Can anyone in this 32 driver grid dethrone Ronan Doherty? Michael O'Donoghue won't get another lap in. Sean McClements does. He improves to 5th. Connor Melia beats Logan Hoy. It's 10th spot for Melia. There's a couple of improvements around the order. CJ O'Sullivan has found time in the 1st and 2nd sector here, and Jason Smith as well rounding through the order. Another returning driver here in RTA is Jason Smith, but he's not returning to the top of the order because this has not been a good lap from him. He's down on his 1st and 2nd sectors, and it looks like it'll be a maximum starting position of 14th spot for Jason Smith, but we'll see. Has the final sector been monstrous? No, it hasn't, because we are out of time.
Out of time, that's that. And the checkered flag falls. Even if you were on a qualifying lap, it's over now. But as we say in this qualifying, it is what it is. You've just got to, take that grain there and move on. If you were on a flying lap, doesn't matter now. We've got the race upcoming.
We do, and it is Ronan Doherty who is on pole position once again. 4 poles last season in the Motorsport.ie Formula V Championship. 3 poles in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. He's got his campaign underway well here with a pole by 0.064 over Michael O'Donoghue in 2nd spot. Dylan McClements in 3rd. Then it is Jordan Kelly in 4th. Sean McClements in 5th. Rory O'Shea in 6th. Sean McGoldrick in 7th. TJ Taff in 8th. Peter McCann in 9th. Connor Melia is in 10th. Logan Hoy in 11th, then ahead of Brandon McCaughan in 12th. Then it is Brian McCarthy, Jason Smith, Evan Walsh, Adam McNamara, ahead of Kevin Joyce, and then CJ O'Sullivan in 18th on his first qualifying. 19th spot goes to recent endurance champion Tony Stack. Then it is Enda Farrell, Simon Hutchings, Aaron Dalton, David Prunty, Finlay Melvin, another returning name in 24th. David or Dermot Toomey, I should say, in 25th. Johnny Hollywood in 26th. Gary Corker in 27th. Then it is Upson, Gandor, Ken Doyle, Rich Murphy, and Jared Thornton, who didn't get a lap on the board.
Yep, 12, I should say 16 rows to take us into the first round of the season. Brilliant. And it's a season here which takes us pretty much all around the globe. It's great to see such an international calendar, isn't it? I mean, we've got Le Mans even on the calendar. Why not? Throw that in there for the drivers as well.
Sorry to jump in here, Kieran. We've had a little bit of controversy in terms of the lobby. Ronan Doherty has been disqualified before the race. He accidentally disqualified another driver last season. I think it was Nick Tullow. He's accidentally done it again and disqualified Brandon McCaughrean. And because he's done it twice, he has been booted out by the admins. So Ronan Doherty will not take place in this race. Peter McCann and the admins have said, nope, 2 times too many.
Wow. I mean, that is certainly a decision that's made, and it makes you ever more... ever more relieved that you're in the commentary box rather than the steward's box, because that's going to be a case of Michael O'Donoghue who has the front row all to himself. The gap has to be left there on that front row. So Dylan McClements has to leave that spot. Of course, if you are watching along with Formula One, you'll realise next season that's not a thing anymore. But in theory, you do have to leave that space.
Yes, so that is a terrible start to what was looking very promising from Ronan Doherty. We'll have no Ronan Doherty in this session, and we'll have no Brandon McCaughrean. They're both gone. Brandon not due to his own fault. Ronan very much so due to his own fault. But last season's Formula V champion, 13 wins, started last season with 3 wins in the opening round. He won't even have the chance to take a single one here tonight in Portugal. If that isn't a very RTA way to start a season, I don't know what is.
Well, you know what they say? Start as you mean to go on. And hopefully, in true RTA fashion, it will give us much greater racing out on track. I mean, we saw with the Formula Vs last season, it was just action, race after race. I'm sure you'll agree there, Evan, that it was just great to watch along. So I'm sure we'll get much of the same. Lots of drivers trying to warm up their tyres in these slippery conditions. I'm not sure how ideal that's going to be, considering that these sort of wet weather tyres normally work better at lower temperatures. But, you know, there might be a reason why I'm up in the commentary box rather than out in the cockpit.
Yeah, I think they're going to be cool enough anyways due to the rain. I can't really see overheating tyres being an issue. But a very, very interesting scenario at the start of the race. Just to dumb it down maybe a little bit for the folks at home, in case that was the explanation was a bit confusing. I was just getting a message through from one of the other drivers. But yeah, basically, Ronan accidentally kicked another driver out of the session because he has admin privileges or something for the second time. He did it once last season and he did it tonight. And because it was his second time doing it, the admin said, no, you can't just keep booting drivers out. So they booted him out. Wow. Which is fair enough, I suppose, but it's definitely a weird way to start a sim race.
Well, you know what? There are better ways to start. There are worse ways to start, mind as well. It's not the start that Doherty would have wanted to try and retain the title. Nevertheless, we're only a couple of corners away now from getting this season underway with our Dalaras.
Yes, we are, and it is going to be Michael O'Donoghue and Dylan McClements who'll be side by side down towards the first corner. Not Doherty and O'Donoghue like we once predicted. On that second row then, it is going to be Jordan Kelly and Sean McClements. And as they are heading through Galp now, the final corner, we will see O'Donoghue be the man to dictate when we accelerate, not Dylan McClements. It's O'Donoghue on the outside in the green and black. Dylan McClements is in the Alpine prototype livery there on the inside, sporting the number 88. Kelly just behind in the blue and white, the old VRA racing livery. And then Sean McClements in the green and white there, O'Donoghue. A last little weave before putting pedal to the metal, and we go racing here in Portimao. He's caught Dylan McClements napping a little bit, but McClements immediately puts himself back into the toe to get a slipstream. Jordan Kelly putting Dylan McClements under big pressure down in towards the first corner. And look at the amount of headlights barreling down into Premiera. McClements defends from Kelly. Kelly looking for the move in towards turn number 3. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And yeah, just a sea of headlights through the mist, through the spray there as someone's around. That's Logan Hoy, who's turned around there and has to rejoin onto the circuit. Meanwhile, then Peter McCann having to battle away. I think that's with Jason Smith, as there was someone getting a little bit tail happy there. Jason Smith going to the left-hand side there to try and defend the position then. And he now tries to leave the braking as late as possible and slides his way around. Peter McCann looking for the outside line though, but Conor Melia slipped through as well. Jason Smith getting a little bit of another tail out as we make our way through in towards turn 5 of Tour Vip.
Yeah, Sean McGoldrick went barreling in towards the left-hander as well before during qualifying. We saw him have that same issue. He made the same mistake, but thankfully on both occasions he has survived and not clipped anyone. Rory O'Shea looking for an audacious move on TJ Taft. Brilliant start to the race this for young TJ Taft. He's already up 3 spots to 5th. O'Shea, and that is Rory O'Shea and Sean McGoldrick. McGoldrick's not survived this time.
No, he tried to move up the inside. He ran too deep out of that corner and tried to get his way back on with too much speed. And oh, that's another one. Jason Smith is around as well. Was he tagged there by Evan Walsh? And he's just wheeled his way back into the path there of, is that C.J. O'Sullivan, I think it was,
yes,
in the number 3. Yeah, so C.J. O'Sullivan's just an innocent bystander in that one. Tried to avoid it, but there was absolutely nothing that C.J. could have done more there.
Yeah, bad start to this season for the Selbridge man, Jason Smith, who has gone dropping down the order. Brian McCarthy getting past Adam McNamara. What a hectic first lap of this race. I tell you what, if we start as we mean to go on, we're going to be in for some evening here in Portugal. Dylan McClements putting the pressure immediately on Michael O'Donoghue, and the top 3 have somehow ran away on this opening lap.
I was going to say, Michael O'Donoghue had about a 1.7 second lead over Dylan McClements. McClements has absolutely scythed that back down, and he's brought Jordan Kelly with him now. So the top 3 making their way down towards turn 5 at Tour Vip to see what they can do from this point onwards. And we've only had 2 minutes into this race. We've seen about as much as you can see right now. There's Johnny Hollywood trying to find a way past Jason Smith. Smith, who has no rear wing on the car, mind, but he's still ploughing his way on there in 18th place right now. Gerard Thornton, meanwhile, didn't take part in qualifying, and he's up to 21st.
Yeah, he is. Gerard, of course, a driver who really impressed me last season. He's looking to impress us all here again. Here's Kevin Joyce looking for the move around the outside of Sean McGoldrick, and that's a lovely little send in towards the right-hander. And I thought he was going to go for it down the inside of Rory O'Shea in the high pre, but he didn't. Stays in 14th position, just in front of those. I tell you what a great race start for Finlay Melvin in 10th position. Finlay has been known for his good race starts in the past. He's up 14 positions to 10th, and in case you don't get that reference, the good race starts may have been a jump start, but not on this occasion.
Look at Sean McGoldrick then trying to find a move here on Kevin Joyce, then trying to go down the inside. Can he get the power down? Looks like he can. Meanwhile, that looked like it was Ender Farrell who's just got the move done there on Jason Smith. Smith then trying a little bit of a switchback going through in towards the penultimate corner, but that is Ender Farrell who gets his way through, and Jason Smith struggling to get the power down then as we make our way through in towards that final corner. He's now got Adam McNamara behind him as we make our way through that final corner at Galp and making our way onwards towards the start-finish line, as there was huge amounts of debris there on the start-finish line, and I wonder if someone got caught up in that one.
Yes, as ignored the timing screen for a second, folks. Jared Thornton has not just dived down the inside of the entire grid in towards the first corner, and it is not Dermot Toomey who is leading. It is still Michael O'Donoghue, who is ahead of... is he ahead of Jordan Kelly, or is he ahead of Dylan McClements? He's ahead of Jordan Kelly, so Dylan McClements has made an error somewhere around the lap, now 1.2 seconds behind Jordan. I tell you what, Michael O'Donoghue is on cloud 9 currently, his RTA debut, and he's got a more comfortable lead than really anyone got last season.
Yeah, and now he just needs to settle into this rhythm, as much of a rhythm as you can with just over 5 minutes left of the race. Jordan Kelly past Dylan McClements. Sean McClements now in 4th. TJ Taft in 5th place with Peter McCann in 6th. Conor Melia is now in 7th place. Finlay Melvin in 8th. And then in 9th place is Evan Walsh, and Brian McCarthy now rounds off the top 10 as we watch on with our race leader making his way through there. That's Conor Melia diving deep, though. I think that's in towards turn 13, just before for Sagres then as we make our way through in towards the 14th corner. So Conor Melia perhaps trying to see if he can find a way past Peter McCann, but ran wide in doing so.
Yeah, Conor Melia, a man who likes these LMP2 cars as well. I think he was fond of the prototypes coming into this season. We'll see what that's like after 8 weeks of them. Brian McCarthy in 10th spot as well, as Dylan McClements, I think, has just got past Jordan Kelly. So I'm not sure what's happened to Jordan Kelly or whether that's just another timing glitch. No, Dylan is ahead of Jordan. So Jordan's had an issue heading through Premiera as well, as Evan Walsh is into the pit lane, seemingly. He's dropping down the order and is now behind Jason Smith. I'm not sure if that's a damaged service or could just be a glitch once again. But let's have a look at the Gantry TV replay here and see, is this what happened to Jordan and Dylan? It is.
Let's see then as we make our way down towards the first corner. So we're seeing Dylan McClements make his way now down the hill, then in towards the first corner. And that is, of course, Jordan Kelly running deep, then making an error, and that allowed Dylan McClements through. So that happened a few seconds ago, but that is how Dylan McClements has got himself into second place ahead of Jordan Kelly. There's Rory O'Shea trying to get down the inside of Tony Stack then, and Rory O'Shea spins around. Someone in the background spinning in sympathy, the number 19 of Kevin Joyce there, and Rory O'Shea now just has to try and pick his moment to rejoin onto the track. And if the spin's a bad part of it, having to wait to rejoin on the circuit and wait for a gap is even worse. It's even more painful.
Yeah, but you got to make sure you have a safe rejoin. That is a point that is so emphasised by the stewards here in RTA. So you got to make sure you get a safe rejoin. But Rory O'Shea down the order, down to 18th position, behind Johnny Hollywood. 7 podiums last season for Rory O'Shea. No wins. Not looking likely that he'll take a win here in heat number 1, certainly. The man who looks dead on for the win here is Michael O'Donoghue, who leads by 5 seconds over Dylan McClements in second and Jordan Kelly in third. Then it's Sean McClements, TJ Taft, Peter McCann, Conor Melia, Finlay Melvin, Brian McCarthy and Sean McGoldrick. They're down in 10th. It's definitely a case of drivers not quite used to these cars, Kieran, because we're seeing an awful lot of errors.
We are indeed, and chuck a little bit of water out on the track and you get this absolutely hectic action. Finlay Melvin and Brian McCarthy now battling away for 8th place, as Finlay Melvin is really feeling the pressure from McCarthy. There's one car off the track there. I think that's just a lapped car. There's Jason Smith, who's now made his way into the pit lane. I think he was losing a lot of time with the damage that he did have, so he's brought the car into the pits. Gets a quick repair and makes his way back out onto track. So Conor Melia, though, gets his way now past Peter McCann. So McCann down to 7th now. Conor Melia up into 6th place. So that was a move to Torrey Vip then, it looked like. Aaron Dalton, again, looking to see if he can find his mojo back then, down to 13th place.
Yeah, Aaron Dalton, I just have to get this mini rant out of the way. That is a hypercar livery on an LMP2. No, don't do it.
He's done it, though.
Rant is over. I know there's nothing I can do, but it annoys me. It annoys me like Red Bull liveries annoy Kevin Galvin. It just annoys me. Conor Melia in 6th place, under threat from Peter McCann, as Michael O'Donoghue rounds through Galp to start the final lap of the race, sporting the number 14. He's looking to become a winner on debut. The white flag race as we ride on board with Michael O'Donoghue. You can just see the complexity of these LMP2 cars. As Kieran was saying before, they have a 4.2 litre gearbox, 6-speed sequential paddle shift, but you can just see the amount of buttons on the wheel and on the car. There's buttons for all different headlights. You have your full course yellow buttons, you have your pit limiter buttons, and you have even your kill button. And rumour has it that's the one Jason Smith presses when he's behind Jordan Kelly heading into clearways. Great lead from O'Donoghue, though, 5.7 seconds. And I tell you, I'm so impressed, Kieran.
Yeah, to be doing this on debut as well. Yeah, it doesn't matter what pedigree you have behind you. A debut is a debut, and Michael O'Donoghue is showing everyone what he can do behind the wheel of one of these Dalaras. And now he makes his way over the crest then towards the second part of the circuit as we head our way down now out of Portimao in towards these next couple of corners. Oh, sorry, now in towards Portimao, I should say. The top of the hill at Portimao, turning in, and make sure you head away down the circuit. I do really mean it when it is the Algarve roller coaster of Portimao. It's a beautiful circuit, and for Michael O'Donoghue, he's only got a couple of corners left of this Heat 1.
Yes, he is. And is he coming up to lap someone? He is. That is Evan Walsh, who took a trip into the pit lane. So that is understandable. But Michael O'Donoghue rounding through the final corner. Impact has been made immediately. Flicking it around the outside through Galp, taking the dry racing line and avoiding the puddles. That was the manifesto put on display by O'Donoghue. And what a stellar job indeed. Took advantage of the absence of Ronan Doherty. And he will take a win on debut in his first ever heat in RTA. An impressive job from O'Donoghue. Dylan McClements comes home in second. Jordan Kelly will take third.
Yeah, nailed the start and didn't really look too far back, did he? Always facing forward and really making the most of that one as Dylan McClements rounds off second place. Jordan Kelly in third. Sean McClements in fourth. Sean McGoldrick, meanwhile, still trying to battle away with Finlay Melvin for ninth place. So Brian McCarthy found his way past. We're going to get a run to the line here for ninth place. It's not a very long run towards the line, and Finlay Melvin just gets ahead of Sean McGoldrick for ninth place. Sean McGoldrick finishing in 10th place by just about 9/100ths of a second.
Yes, and we can see a couple of battles for the minor placings here. It's all fairly bunched up in the backpack. Kevin Joyce comes home 14th out of Logan Hoy in 15th. Here's Simon Hutchings, who you're looking at, running a very consistent yellow and grey livery. I think he's been in that one for quite a while. Philip Upson then in 20th, Jamal Gandor in 21st, and it is Toomey, Murphy and Jason Smith. Jason Smith, one of the drivers involved in the incident with CJ O'Sullivan. And those two have got poor results from it. But an interesting Heat 1 there, Kieran. A lot of different perspectives could be taken on that one.
I mean, interesting is one word to use for it. Hectic could be another. But yeah, absolute takeaways from that. Michael O'Donoghue making his debut and making it look easy. You've got our defending champion disqualified from the race, so did not even start this race. If he does get to start in Heat 2, he'll have to start from 31st position as Jason Smith makes his way across the line as the last of the finishers on the lead lap.
Yep, let's run you through your full results then. And then, of course, this is the starting grid for the next heat. It is Michael O'Donoghue who takes the win out of Dylan McClements in second, Jordan Kelly in third, Sean McClements in fourth, TJ Taff in fifth, Conor Mealy in sixth, Peter McCann in seventh, Brian McCarthy in eighth, Finlay Melvin in ninth, Sean McGoldrick then in 10th. Then it is Tony Stack in 11th, Adam McNamara in 12th, out of Aaron Dalton in 13th, Kevin Joyce in 14th with Logan Hoy in 15th and Rory O'Shea in 16th position. Johnny Hollywood comes home at 17th, and it is Prunty, Hutchings, Upson, Gandor, Toomey, Murphy, Jason Smith, Evan Walsh, Enda Farrell, CJ O'Sullivan and Gary Corcoran. We will head immediately in towards heat number 2. We do have the rolling start, of course. Oh, we have more names to read through. Usually it's only one scroll. Now it's 2. But after Enda Farrell, it was CJ O'Sullivan, Gary Corcoran, Jared Thornton, Ken Doyle, Ronan Doherty and Brandon McCaughrean. Remember, no Ronan, no Brandon for heat 2 or for heat 3. Everybody else gets another stab at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get to go again and see what happens this time around as our drivers then start their rolling lap behind the pace car Porsche as we see once again what happens here. Rain still falling, spray still absolutely here to stay. And that picture heading down towards turn 1, would love to see it again. This sort of absolute homage of spray just all over the place with headlights trying to peer through. I mean, it's tough enough for us to see what's going on down towards turn 1 just from the commentary box, let alone what it's like to be on board in one of these cockpits with all this spray going up towards you. It's not so bad if you're on the front 2 rows perhaps, but if you're say 31st or 32nd on the grid, just hope at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely getting to the point where a quick deck out of the rosary would be advised. It's it's not easy to see. Let's put it like that. Your windshield wiper will be going wild in towards the first corner. A couple of nice liveries you can see heading down towards the Torre V hairpin. I think so far my favourite livery though has to be Peter McCann's, and Peter McCann's livery of course has a bit of a special meaning behind it. You can see there it has a term towards cancer, and you might recognise that from a couple of seasons ago in relation to oh, I'm allowed to say it. I've just been told in my ear. It has "feck cancer" written all over the car, and that is, of course, a phrase that was adopted by Eric Courier, who you might remember we sadly lost last season during Formula V Championship. And Peter McCann is running that as a tribute to Eric, and we have to say, we have to point that out for Peter, as we know Eric meant a lot to him, and it is a fitting tribute, I think. But fair play, Peter, for that one. It is a beautiful-looking livery that was ran in an endurance race that Eric did take part in, so that is our little tribute for the season. A couple of other liveries then around the grid. Obviously, that Ferrari one that quite annoys me, but there's a lot of multicolours.
Yeah, very colourful grid at this stage, considering that some drivers have not yet finished their respective paint jobs just yet.
Or started.
Get your liveries in. But yes, it's good to see a good start to the colourful grid. Good to see some pinks out there, some day glow. I always say yellow. I'm told it's no, I think it's green and it's actually yellow, but I don't believe that.
What are you on about?
You know this day glow business. The sort of fluorescent. I say it's green, but everyone tells me it's a yellow jacket. It's green.
What? Which livery are we on about here?
I just saw some day glow yellow and green, but
is it Simon Hutchings there in the grey?
Don't do me this situation of, is the day glow green here in the room with us, Kieran? No.
I've no idea what day glow green is. That's why I want to know. But I digress. We'll come back to that one on the formation lap of heat number 3.
Maybe I should have said fluorescent, but there we go.
Is it yellow? Is it green? This is our version of that dress that went around on Facebook for a while. Is the RTA fluorescent colour yellow or green? In more important matters, we've got a race to start, and Michael O'Donoghue will do us the honours once again. Foot to the floor, we go racing here in Portimao. Much better start this time from Dylan McClements, but Jordan Kelly has tucked up right behind him again, and Kelly is looking like he's going to go for this one in towards the first corner. Breaks later, and then Dylan McClements dives down the inside. Brilliant move by the Donegalman, but Dylan McClements has sold him the switchback, and that is going to be Dylan McClements who stays in front. Very clever racing from Dylan to keep the position. Brian McCarthy looking for spots in the background as well. Jason Smith gets past Johnny Hollywood. Finlay Melvin, I tell you what, he's like a man reborn here. Around the outside of Adam McNamara, skates across the runoff, does an excellent job indeed to hold that one, and Melvin only loses a handful of spots. Could have lost a lot more.
Could have lost a lot more, and one who might lose a lot more is number 13 there, running a little bit deep. That's Adam McNamara, as there's a little bit of a Constantina effect making her way out of Torre Vip there, as drivers now try to find the grip. Obviously, they were racing just a couple of minutes ago, but it's all different on the first lap. You've got to try and find your groove out there in these very early stages, and David Prunty there trying to find his mark there. Sean McClements currently 4th in the race so far, as he looks to try and find his way back through the pack. Rory O'Shea then one man to try and do that as well, trying to go now round the outside of Peter McCann here as we make our way through in towards Portimao, swoops round the outside and makes the move stick. Then up into 9th goes Rory O'Shea.
Yes, Rory O'Shea having a better start to heat number 2 than he had at conclusion of heat number 1. Aaron Dalton under pressure from Jason Smith, and I said if you're brave you can dive it down the inside. Jason Smith definitely not a man who lacks bravery on overtakes, and Jason Smith is going to pull that one off and is ahead. Conor Mealy gets ahead of Sean McGoldrick. TJ Taft's had a problem. There is TJ Taft parked on the runoff in the Red Bull livery, comes back onto the circuit. Thankfully we have a lot of aware drivers who predicted that one, and Taft doesn't get collected. In the meantime, he's down to 16th. Disappointing for young TJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to make the mistake. But yeah, really good driving from all involved to make sure they avoided that one. And you can see the Armada then making their way now down in towards turn 1, then following on from Tony Stack. But we've got the likes of Finlay Melvin trying to find his way through, but runs a little bit wide, does the number 4 of Finlay Melvin. Once again, skating across the outside of the track. There is absolutely zero grip there. And there's the number 5, Logan Hoy, trying to find his way up the inside to try and take full advantage of that loss of control there. But another loss of control for TJ Taffy. Has a half spin going through in towards turn number 4, manages to collect the car up, and there's the 17 who goes exit stage right on the back straight.
Yeah, weird one that for Johnny Hollywood. It seemed almost like a wheel disconnection or something, but he's still driving. There's definitely an issue with that car. It's not at full racing speed by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Adam McNamara and Jason Smith. Smith dives it down the inside in towards Samsung, and a job well done there for Jason. He gets ahead exiting the corner and heading down the hill. He's pulled a couple of tenths as well. There's Logan Hoy, the ICC or mini drivers, not having a good race here in heat number 2. TJ Taff we saw having multiple problems. Logan Hoy dropping down the order now, and he's down to 21st. Actually, somehow behind TJ Taff, as TJ Taff has almost committed some form of crime. As there goes Finlay Melvin. He's run off the circuit and into the gravel. Very disappointing for Finlay, who was having one of his best RTA drives.
He was, yeah. Now he's down to 26th position, so he'll have a lot of work to do to try and get himself back up the order then. Meanwhile, a driver having no such issues is Michael O'Donoghue, who's managed to once again build up a 4-second lead. Dylan McClements in second place, Sean McClements in third, and it's Jordan Kelly in fourth place as they now make their way down towards turn 1. Rory O'Shea, I think, in the background as well, maybe thinking about a move on Conor Melia as we make our way through there. But that is Aaron Dalton, who's around just before, I think that's the final corner. He's had the issue there, so perhaps he's dropped it on the curb going through that penultimate corner.
Yeah, problem there for him, and that is disappointing. We're seeing a lot of errors here in the early stages of heat number 2, but that's kind of what we expect when you have the season opener in wet conditions in a brand new car for most of these drivers. If you're just joining us, of course, this is the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup season opener, live from the Algarve International Circuit here on Gantry TV. We ask you to show your support to Gantry TV and RTA if you can. A subscription is absolutely free and will take you less than half a second to click that button. Kevin Joyce is looking for a little bit more than half a second. He is a second and a half off Brian McCarthy in front and under a lot of pressure from Jason Smith. Smith has been on a bit of a warpath here, looking for overtakes wherever he can, even running off, heading through the flat out corner of Craig Jones, just trying to find a different line.
Yeah, different lines are normally really good in these wet weather conditions. If you can take your sort of quote-unquote karting lines, you've got a good chance here as Jason Smith again just filling the mirrors of Kevin Joyce there, trying to find any which way to try and find the pass then as we'll make our way through in towards Zagres, in towards the penultimate corner. Again, the door seems open. Kevin Joyce manages to hold on to the position for now, but as we get the power down, you can see Jason Smith having to work the wheel then as it tries to fight him in that penultimate corner through the final corner then at Galp, as now we'll have Jason Smith riding on board with him. This is pretty much what Jason Smith will see on the back of Kevin Joyce. He'll have to pick out his braking marker. You might see him tuck out of the spray then just to see where he is out on track, take a sit rep, and then tuck back in to get the braking zone there.
Yeah, it's a weird balance, this, because you want the slipstream, but you also want to see where you're going. So you've got to pull out from time to time. Evan Walsh overtaking Logan Hoy. He's going to stick on the inside line heading through the corner, and that's a good move by Evan Walsh as we ride on board with Logan Hoy. You can just see how much he has to turn the wheel. As down the inside goes Logan Hoy. That caught me off guard. Certainly caught the other Evan Walsh off guard. But he will stay ahead for the time being. You could just see how many inputs of the wheel Logan Hoy had to have through that corner. It is going to tire these drivers. It is a really demanding race, this one.
Yeah, with all the undulation as well, and the fact that there's a little bit of water out on the track as Gary Corcoran was up the inside of Joao Gandor there, and no way through for him. Gandor holds a spot in the top 20. Yeah, those little adjustments you have to make on the fly with the car just to make sure everything works to T there as Brian McCarthy picks up on the paint on the curb and loses that grip and loses a chunk of time as well. That might put him into the path of Kevin Joyce then, who's managed to get a little bit of a buffer between himself and Jason Smith. But with that Adam McNamara mistake, as that's Simon Hutchings who's lost the entire front end of that car, as they'll have to rejoin onto the circuit. Looks like there's a bit of damage to the front left wheel as well, perhaps suspension damage there as well, as they'll have to nurse that car back to the pits.
Yeah, that's not a great looking LMP2 from Simon Hutchings. I know we were having a discussion of his livery earlier. Unfortunately, half of it's gone, and he will have to just get that one home, unfortunately. Sean McClements up in the podium placings, defending from good friend Jordan Kelly. There was 6 podiums last season for Sean. That matched his Mustang America's Cup total from 2 seasons ago, but he did get less wins, so he'd like to maybe pick up 1 or 2 more here in the LMP2 Cup. But yeah, difficult challenge for Sean here. He's got to keep Jordan Kelly behind, who, as we know, is quick in anything. He's won single-seater championships. He has won touring car championships. and has been very good in prototypes as well in the past here in RTA, and 5 tenths separates the two. One man who's been very good in prototypes in RTA, that is this one. In his second race, Michael O'Donoghue has almost a 5-second lead.
Yeah, almost making this look easy, isn't he? And, in terms of a wet weather warrior, we might have one here. Ian O'Donoghue absolutely taken to these conditions like a duck to water through in towards the final couple of corners. We'll make our way through in towards Sagres then and through in towards turn 14. Again, the wider line being taken there. And you see this sort of karting line that has been re-established by Max Verstappen, who's such a great driver in those wet weather conditions, in those slippery conditions, able to find the grip where other drivers just simply cannot find it, or simply are not brave enough to try and put a line off the track then. But you do find with less rubber on the track, i.e. off the racing line, you do find it's less slippery as Logan Hoy finds himself off the racetrack in the second sector. That's just before Portimao then, that's just after Portimao. It's in towards the final couple of corners here. But yeah, you really do have to find the grip out there. And if you get that, if you get that grip, you find it, you just hold it and never let it go.
Yeah, he's the gap was actually closed since we started this discussion, but only by 0.2 of a second. I can't really see it closing. This is a bit of deja vu back to that Mustang America's Cup that I keep harping on about, to Oscar Mangan, who joined for the season, dominated, left. Seems like Michael O'Donoghue might be following a similar career trajectory here, but too early to speak in terms of the championship, because anything can happen. We have a lot of different type of circuits this season in the LMP2 Cup, and I'm sure O'Donoghue will be challenged in Heat 3 and in those next few races, because he will have that different experience of the reverse grid, which even the best of the best have struggled with at times. Simon Hutchings off the circuit once again does have a brand new nose cone on.
A new suspension as well, thanks to that fast repair. So he's currently in 26th place. David Prunty, meanwhile, is under pressure from TJ Taft then as we make our way through in towards these next right-handers then. So David Prunty knows he's got TJ Taft right behind him as he looks to try and keep a hold of that position for a place for 14th place. TJ Taft as we ride on board then with David Prunty, as TJ Taft knows he's got to try and make some moves up here. He's made a couple of mistakes this race. You see the different lines being taken here in terms of confidence behind the wheel. That's something you have to have in these wet weather conditions. You have to be confident, you have to be brave, and there's TJ Taft down the inside in towards turn 13 and makes his move then up in towards 14th place through and towards the penultimate corner as David Prunty gets a little bit wide, runs wide, loses the grip there and he doesn't lose a position there, I don't think. I think that was a bit of lappery that's passed him there. Nevertheless, TJ Taft makes the move stick.
That is an unbelievable overtake from TJ Taft, diving down the inside of Prunty, got the job done, discombobulated David Prunty for the next corner, and Taft is up ahead in towards 14. TJ Taft, of course, as we said, a racing driver and a karting driver in Ireland. He was able to take 2 wins in White River this year. More of a grey river out on circuit here in Portimao, but TJ still excelling. It seems we're looking back at Jordan Kelly. We're now looking forward from the helmet of Jordan Kelly, as he still has Sean McClemens parked right in front of him.
Yeah, as you said, there's a couple of overtaking opportunities on this track, but Jordan Kelly has just not been able to size up at this moment to try and find a way past Sean McClemens. At the top of Portimao now, we'll head away down the roller coaster once again, taking us through the next couple of corners through turn 12, which sizes up turn 13. It's just seeming like Jordan Kelly is within striking distance, but just can't quite seem to size up that position. Sean McClemens driving the widest Dallara Portimao has seen. Jordan Kelly runs a little bit wide, but he might be able to get the power down a little bit earlier in doing so through in towards the final corner. But Sean McClemens doing well to hold on to this third place right now. Michael O'Donoghue crosses the line then to start what should be the penultimate lap of this race.
Yes, and you can see 2 laps ago, set the best lap of the race as well. It is the Michael O'Donoghue show here in the Algarve with Dylan McClemens in second position. It'll be interesting to see what happens when McClemens starts in front of O'Donoghue. Of course, if the positions would remain as the same, O'Donoghue would start in 8th in the next heat, and McClemens would start in 7th. The pole sitter for the next heat would be Peter McCann, who has quite a good track record in season openers and in season finales. In season finales especially, he scored at least 1 podium in the last 3 of them. And then last season, if I remember correctly, in Snetterton, he scored a podium in the Formula V Championship. Kevin Joyce overtaken by TJ Taft. Taft gets ahead of Kevin Joyce. He'll disagree with that one, and he is down to 14th. Here is Ken Doyle looking for the move down the inside of Jamal Gandor. And Ken Doyle pulls to the right-hand side. The Wexford man looking for the move on the Lebanese driver of Jamal Gandor. And Ken Doyle down the inside. No, Jamal activated a bit. Oh, never mind. There goes Jamal round. And that is disappointing for Jamal. Locks the brakes, will avoid the wall, but has lost a significant amount of time.
Yeah, kept it out of the wall, didn't he? But yeah, just tried to defend the inside line and was having a great time until the car just simply did not want to grip anymore. It was as simple as that. Just lost the adhesion he had there, and unfortunately that sent the car around. Riding on board then with Tony Stack, who's next in the crosshairs of TJ Taft then, as we make our way onwards now through in towards turns 9 and 10 of Portimao. Then TJ Taft looking for a move down the inside. Will he go for it here? There's a little bit of contact between them then, and it sends Tony Stack a little bit wide. TJ Taft drives off then into 12th place, and now Kevin Joyce might see if he can try and close the gap on Tony Stack at this stage.
I tell you what, TJ is providing us with entertainment, if anything. He's up to 12th position, and there's Evan Walsh fling it around the outside of David Prunty. Prunty down to 17. Jordan Kelly's got past Sean McClements. That's because he ran too deep into turn number 2, and McClements sweeps straight back past. Last lap of the race here. Oh, no, sorry, Jordan Kelly is still ahead. It was McClements that ran deep, so it was the other way around. Apologies, folks. Jordan Kelly is ahead of Sean McClements, and that one looks to be decided. Let's have a look at the replay.
Yeah, let's indeed. So, as you say, Evan, this will be down towards turn 1. So Jordan Kelly closing on Sean McClements. There's just been no way past Sean McClements so far in this race. But Sean McClements will turn in there. Does he run just slightly wide? Yes, he did. He got onto the curb there on the painted stuff. Lost the back end, but managed to recover it. We've seen drivers lose it completely there. But yeah, doing really well to defend against Jordan Kelly. But on the final lap, just loses that grip on the paint of the curb.
Yeah, that is a disappointing error for Sean McClements. He will be kicking himself for that one. But fourth, still a solid result from him, especially given that he wasn't too confident about tonight. But Michael O'Donoghue riding for the final corner now. Last season in Snetterton, we had a hat trick to start the season in the form of Ronan Doherty. Will we get Michael O'Donoghue potentially to do something historic and hat trick on his debut? Riding for the final corner though, he's got Heat 2 in his back pocket nevertheless, and O'Donoghue will take his second win here in Portimao. Dylan McClements will come home in second, the same top two as heat number 1. They finish as they started, and Jordan Kelly in third will complete the same podium. Heat 1, Heat 2, O'Donoghue, McClements, Kelly.
Yeah, we should give us a really exciting reverse grid race coming up for heat number 3. Brian McCarthy, I bet, just wants one more lap to see if he can close in on Peter McCann a little bit more. It's going to be McCann in 8th place. Brian McCarthy crosses the line in 9th place with Jason Smith in the background there, rounding off our top 10 for the race. Then Adam McNamara should come across the line in 11th place, which he does. Solid race for Adam. Then TJ Taft, bit of a scrappy race for him, but he has driven that wheels off that car with some great moves. He finishes in 12th place. Tony Stack in 13th place with Kevin Joyce across the line in 14th. Bit of a battle perhaps for 15th. Again, maybe Evan Walsh wanted one more lap to see if he can find a way past CJ O'Sullivan, but this was a case of Evan Walsh trying to get a recovery drive on the board, and 16th place. It's not a bad recovery, all things considered.
No, it's not a bad recovery. Ken Doyle will come home in 20th, and then we're just waiting on 4 more cars to complete the order. No completion of the race from Simon Hutchings or Finlay Melvin, and a couple more drivers as well. But we'll run you through the full race results in a moment. Enda Farrell running in 22nd, running the Inter-Europol livery, the actual LMP2 team that were victors in class at the 2023 24 Hours of Le Mans. You might remember that was quite an interesting one, as Fabio Scherer, the Swiss driver in the team, actually got his foot broken about 4 hours into the race and continued driving on. I don't think Enda Farrell's driving with a broken foot. Sean McClements did drive with a broken toe last season, but that's about it. Here's your full race results then. It is, of course, Michael O'Donoghue who takes the heat win. Dylan McClements in second. Jordan Kelly there in third. Then in fourth position was Sean McClements, and it's Sean McGoldrick, Conor Mealy, Rory O'Shea, and Peter McCann, Brian McCarthy, and Jason Smith.
Yep, and then it's Adam McNamara there, TJ Tuff in 13th place, Tony Stack in 14th, Kevin Joyce 15th with CJ O'Sullivan in CJ O'Sullivan in 15th place, Evan Walsh 16th place with David Prunty in 17th place, Logan Hoy in 18th, Gary Corker in 19th, Ken Doyle in 20th, Dermot Toomey 21st, Ender Farrell in 22nd, Jamal Gandor in 23rd place, Aaron Dalton in 24th, and a couple of non-finishers there, Johnny Honollywood, Philip Upson, Simon Hutchings, Finley Melvin, Rich Murphy, and Brandon McCorn and Gerard Thornton did not take the start. It certainly has shown us, Evan, that there are some great wet weather drivers in this field tonight.
They are, and let's have a chat with one now. Let's bring in Michael O'Donoghue for his first Gantry TV interview. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can indeed, yeah.
Congratulations. We've never seen someone come in and win 2 heats back to back just like that. That's an impressive showing out there.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know. It was easy enough once Ronan Doherty got kicked out for some reason. So, like, it's grand when the rolling starts. You can just gun it and everyone else can have to deal with the spray behind you. So you can build a gap fairly easily. It wasn't too bad, honestly.
Wet weather, then, it certainly treated you well tonight. Would you consider yourself a bit of a wet weather expert?
Don't know, expert, but enjoy it anyway. It's good crack. Like, when it changes, like in the middle of the race, like you're getting quicker, you can feel it. So it's decent.
And then I'm sure you're aware of the bad news now, which means for heat number 3, you have to start in 8th position, cutting through the field. What's the expectations there?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. Like passing here in the rain's tricky enough. Like that's probably the way I built the gap. It's just you can't follow on this spray. It's hard enough. So it'll be difficult, but I'll try my best. Sure, I'll see how it goes.
Michael, thank you very much for joining us, and all going well. We'll chat to you again later.
Thank you.
Let's hear from the second place man with Kieran now, Dylan McClements.
Yes, Dylan McClements joins us then. Dylan, can you hear us?
Yep.
Dylan, we spoke at the end of last season about a lot of podiums on your cards there, but Michael O'Donoghue's in a form of his own. What's your plan? What's your plan to stop him?
I mean, it's just really hard with the spray, so I'm hopefully going to try keep him behind for this race coming and try get a good couple of starts at the start of the race and try get a clean air.
Yeah, you're starting in 7th place for the reverse grid then, with O'Donoghue starting behind you. You've had the likes of Sean McClements and Jordan Kelly in front. Sean has already proven how he's a tough man to overtake. How are you going to find your way through the field here?
I have no clue. I'm gonna have to hope for mistakes from people ahead or battling and hopefully getting under them. See, it's a pretty hard track, and especially with the rain, there's not going to be much overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of drivers have been making mistakes. What's the secret out there to not making those mistakes?
If I'm being honest, if you're not in the spray, it seems fine, but if you're in the spray, you think you're going really fast, but you're not really. So, I don't know, maybe in the spray, if you're pushing, or in the rain, you're pushing, you might just push that little bit too much. And, like, if you even go a millimeter wide, you lose time, and you might spin, you might miss a mistake.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck for the final race starting from P7.
All right, cheers.
Thank you very much, Dylan McClements, and I'll hand it back to Evan, who will chat with Jordan Kelly.
Jordan, 2 third places to start the season then. Your thoughts on that?
It's so tricky, I swear. That spray behind somebody is just like next level. Like I got past Sean the last lap, and you were getting so much in every corner, but it's just if you're not out front, it's just you can only get within a second without you actually like doing something silly because if you get really close, you cannot see a brake marker like so. But it should be good now. We reverse grid hopefully.
Now, I know you missed a lot towards the end of the season in the Formula Vs, but I think it's safe to say this is a totally different challenge.
Oh yeah, this is this is a lot trickier, that's for sure. I'm glad it's light rain because I don't know how we deal with heavy rain at the minute because this is bad. It's just one of these tracks that like the line is one line. If you go off it, you're done. Like so. No, it should be good. Fair play to Michael as well. He's freaking flying out front. So no, hopefully it'll be a nice wee clean feature race.
Jordan, just quickly, on this feature race, you obviously start ahead of Michael and Dylan. Is the goal just going to be to try stay in front of them?
Yeah, I think so. Just try and kick as much spray into them as time around. I think I got enough of my taste of it the last 2 races. So we'll see.
Jordan, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck for Heat 3.
Thank you.
Good to hear from the guys there. I think it's safe to say they're all struggling a little bit.
Yeah, especially as Dylan said, if you're in the spray, it's even more difficult. Jordan Kelly was saying the same thing, and kind of what I thought might have been happening with him and Sean McClemens. It's a fact of Sean had the track position and sort of the clear air in more ways than one, the aero clear air and the fact that he has no spray on his windscreen there. So that worked in his favour then. And for Jordan Kelly, he has to dip out of the slipstream just to see where the braking markers are. But we have our grid now for our final race of tonight.
Yes, Peter McCann going to start on pole position alongside Rory O'Shea in second, Conor Melia in third. Then it's Sean McGoldrick, Sean McClemens, Jordan Kelly, Dylan McClemens, Michael O'Donoghue in the top 8. Then Brian McCarthy and Jason Smith in 9th and 10th. Adam McNamara lines up alongside TJ Taff. They're in 11th and 12th. Then it's Tony Stack, Kevin Joyce, CJ O'Sullivan, Evan Walsh, David Prunty, Logan Hoy, Gary Corcoran. Then it's Ken Doyle, Dermot Toomey, and Farrell. They start ahead of Jamal Gandor and Aaron Dalton in 23rd and 24th. Then it's Johnny Hollywood in 25th ahead of Philip Upson, Simon Hutchings, Finlay Melvin, Rich Murphy, Jared Thornton, and then, of course, Brandon McCaughrean down in 31st. But the grid's definitely been shuffled from the qualifying result.
Hasn't it just? Yeah, it's great to see as our drivers are now making their way onwards now for their warm-up lap, for their formation rolling start lap in the Porsche pace car will be leading them round. But yeah, just a slight shuffle up from what we saw in qualifying earlier on today. Just having a look where Peter McCann has been. Well, he qualified 9th. He's now up on the reverse grid pole position. And then alongside him is the number 15 there, of course. We have a lot to play here. We've got our longest race of the evening. We've got Rory O'Shea, who has struggled tonight, but he's got a really good opportunity here to get some serious points on the board on the first race of the season.
I also love when we're pulling off there. You can just really see how stupidly wide this main straight here in Portimao is. If it wasn't raining, I think we could easily have 3 or 4 wide down there. So that's one thing that I'm disappointed at. The rain has cancelled that out. But Peter McCann, real opportunity here. Just needs to get a good start, I think.
Yeah, and that's easier, easy said than done. We heard, though, from Michael O'Donoghue, it's a case of if you're leading the pack, if you're on that pole position, you pretty much control the pace. You are able to have the great line you need heading down towards turn 1. And making sure that you get the inside line, get the line you want, and more importantly, no spray in front of you is going to be key to trying to build an early gap at this stage.
Yes, you don't want to be in the spray. You want to be out of it. You want to be in front. And Peter McCann will look to stay in front, but he will have Rory O'Shea challenging him. Rory 6th in the championship last season. Peter 7th. Rory beating Peter by a very slim 10 points. So might be a little bit personal between these two, as if Peter McCann has ever taken an RTA battle personally. You'd never expect such a thing. But they rounding through the final couple of corners now, heading into the left-hander now. As Kieran, you've just been asked for an explanation.
No, I don't need to give one. That's it. Look, I'm just arguing about the fluorescent yellow and green. You see on those high vis.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Just explain to the viewers. Ronan Hederman said in areas, I've still no idea what Kieran was on about. I had no idea what he was on about, so there's a bit of a confusion. As Johnny Hollywood said, a bit of a confusion in the middle sector.
Look, Evan, if I confuse myself, then who else has got a chance?
I still don't know whose livery you're talking about, so I can't give a judgment on it.
And you never will.
Well, this is brilliant entertainment.
Oh, you love to see it, don't you? You love.
Are you talking about Sean McClemens? Is there that green?
No, it's one way at the back. It might be Simon Hutchings. Yes, it is Simon Hutchings because I saw Welsh AF, so it's definitely Simon Hutchings.
You're saying that's green?
No, well, no, not anymore. Now that I've seen it properly, no. But there we go.
That's as yellow as a banana.
Look, Evan, a distraction. It's a race upcoming.
There is a race upcoming, but that's a ridiculous statement. That is very much a yellow and grey livery, but In more important matters, it is Peter McCann and Rory O'Shea at the front of the order, and McCann, weirdly enough, has the inside line. It was O'Donoghue who went for the outside line heading up the race start, but Peter McCann has got the jump as we go racing for the final time here in Portugal. Great launch from Peter McCann. He's timed that perfectly, and then we are going to get a 3 or 4 wide moment down the straight. Look at the headlights weave and dodge heading into the first corner. Conor Melia looking for the move on Sean McGoldrick. Sean McClements looking to battle as well. Dylan McClements has got his way past Jason Smith, and Michael O'Donoghue is suffering from the inexperience of the race. Starts, he's dropped down the order to 10th spot. Down the inside goes Jason Smith and Jordan Kelly. Oh, and I tell you what, this could be an entertaining one. Smith and Kelly side by side as they head up the hill. It's no secret what has gone on between these two. Jordan Kelly going to look for the inside line. Now pivots to the outside. Smith on the inside trying to dive past Sean McClements. McClements going to act as a bit of a blockade there for Jason Smith, and Jordan Kelly's going to try round the outside here. It'll be brave if he goes for it in towards turn number 7, but I tell you what, he's fired up and wants to get this move done. Jordan Kelly, there's contact made between the two of them, and Jason Smith goes skating off the circuit. Can you believe it? Smith is off. Jordan Kelly goes through. Jason down to 14th.
Yeah, and as soon as he went wide there is absolutely little to no grip. It might even be minus grip out there. You just skate off in these conditions here with all the built-up water. Sean McGoldrick, meanwhile, in 4th place, looking to try and see if he can find a way past Conor Melia. Melia himself was looking very punchy at the start of this race. Dylan McClements in 8th place then. Michael O'Donoghue in 7th. So O'Donoghue has managed to get his way past, as that is Finlay Melvin, who once again finds himself facing a wrong way, and potentially that might have been Philip Upson who might have been involved in that as well, as TJ Taff now into 9th place, trying to find a way past Brian McCarthy. Logan Hoy as well, looking to try and pick up the pieces there. Up the inside he goes, through in towards the final corner. Can he get that move done? No, he can't. The advantage and the pace momentum goes the way of McCarthy.
Jordan Kelly gets past Sean McClements. Michael O'Donoghue looking for the move on the pair of them here. And this could be brave from Michael O'Donoghue. Is he going to try it down the inside? And Jordan Kelly, no, tries it on the inside of McClements. McClements has the momentum around the outside of the corner, and off adventuring is Rory O'Shea, but he has decided to rejoin the circuit there. Nothing wrong with that. No cars near Rory. O'Donoghue's going to try dive it down the inside of Sean McClements. I tell you what, that one's come from nowhere, and Michael O'Donoghue has not been able to pull it off down the inside. Jordan Kelly, Dylan McClements, I should say, keeps his car there. It's the family battle heading in towards the left-hander, and Michael O'Donoghue has decided to get involved in it. TJ Taff just 5/10 of a second behind, I should say. This is getting very dicey and sketchy here in this reverse grid race. Still Peter McCann who leads, and Conor Melia and Sean McGoldrick.
Yeah, Sean McClements knows he has to do some defending here. He managed to put on a good defensive display against Jordan Kelly for about 14 and a half minutes in the last race. Just fell at that final hurdle of the first corner of the final lap. Rory O'Shea, though, meanwhile, in 4th place. Sean McGoldrick is now up into 3rd and looking to try and challenge away. But Michael O'Donoghue here sees Dylan McClements make a little bit of a mistake here. McClements went aggressive in towards Portimao then and might suffer the consequences, because round the outside goes Michael O'Donoghue to move himself now up into 7th place, and it's almost like he sized that one up. Sean McClements, meanwhile, has got away past Sean McGoldrick, or at least it's McGoldrick trying to put the pressure on McClements here, as multiple cars going side by side. Michael O'Donoghue now trying to find a move on Sean McGoldrick. Once again, the outside line is king here for O'Donoghue. He moves himself now up into 6th place.
Yes, Kelly, O'Donoghue, McClements, all making moves on that lap, as is Brian McCarthy and Jason Smith. They've got past TJ Taff. Seems like Taff losing in a straight line. He's down to 12th position now here in this race. Peter McCann leads by 1.6 seconds. Conor Melia in 2nd, and then now it's Jordan Kelly in 3rd. Here's Tony Stack looking for the move down the inside of CJ O'Sullivan into the right-hander, and CJ O'Sullivan, the man from County Kilkenny, is driving very well here. I would say it's a bit of a hurling battle, but one is a Kerryman and one's a Kilkennyman, so I think we know who's going to win that one. Jordan Kelly dives down the inside of Conor Melia. I realised halfway through that sentence that Kieran McGinley has no idea what I'm talking about.
I know hurling, I know that part, but I don't get the references. But anyway, Sean McClements here trying to battle away with Sean McGoldrick. McGoldrick up the inside. He's tried this move before and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked this time either. The battle of the Seans will rage on for sure, as McClements ahead of McGoldrick in that battle for 6th place. Dylan McClements still in 8th place. He's not not managed to clear either of the Seans up ahead. So he's still in 8th place at this stage. Conor Melia, meanwhile, is under pressure from Rory O'Shea at Portimao here as we'll now head down the hill and onwards then towards the next couple of corners. Melia holding on to 3rd place right now, but Jordan Kelly now up into 2nd place. O'Shea looking for a move up the inside at turn 13. He'll have to get the power down and he might lose out there, but look who it is. It's Michael O'Donoghue who once again reels in a competitor and looks to try and find a way through. He's got the inside line this time through and towards turn 14, gets a whole lot of wheel spin. Does O'Donoghue, has to back out of it to collect the car then and hold on to 5th place for the time being. But Peter McCann is being reeled in by Jordan Kelly. Rory O'Shea is being reeled in by Michael O'Donoghue. Will O'Donoghue look for a move down the inside here in towards the first corner? Someone who will look for a move down the inside of the first corner is Jordan Kelly, looking to try and find the move. Peter McCann has the momentum advantage here, but once again Jordan Kelly has to tuck back into the slipstream. Peter McCann holds on to the lead.
I tell you what, Jordan and Michael are both absolutely loving this. This is the peak of a racing driver's races, when you just have that pace advantage and you're trying to cut through the field, trying everything. And we can see Kelly trying everything round the outside of Peter McCann, but McCann's giving him a right old tussle. They almost make contact. They rub alongside each other, but Jordan Kelly is able to get the move done, and he is into the lead of the race. Conor Melia looking for the move now on McCann because they've both lost time because of that battle. But Conor not able to dive down the inside. Michael O'Donoghue, you can see just running this outside line, the carving line that Kieran has alluded to multiple times this evening. Michael utilising it so well, and as they head through Craig Jones, he might try to dive it down the inside. You can see the visibility completely nothing heading through that corner. There's Michael O'Donoghue. Oh, if he pulls this one off, I tell you what, if he pulls this one off, this will be one of the best moves we've seen, and it won't be because he's not been able to get it done, but he teed it up nicely nevertheless.
It does. He might still be able to try and size up this move here on Rory.
Cheeky.
Can't get it. Can't get that position. Rory O'Shea sees it coming and doesn't allow him to have that space. You talked about visibility. Yeah, it might be more accurate to say there's a lack of, especially going through these final corners here. As Rory O'Shea runs a little bit wide, Michael O'Donoghue sees his chance then up the inside at the final corner and does get the move done. Then Rory O'Shea runs slightly wide. He will lose traction because of that. And here, Sean McClements will try and find his way through down the inside, even before the braking zone. Look who's behind as well. Sean McGoldrick, who is widest of them all to try and make sure he sees his braking marker in towards the first corner. Now can put the pressure on Rory O'Shea, but that's Sean McClements now up into 5th place.
Yep, Sean ahead of Rory O'Shea. It is Kelly, McCann, Melia, O'Donoghue, McClements. That is your top 5 as we're not even halfway through this race, Kieran, would you believe? That's how action-packed it's been.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Jordan Kelly, though, looking to try and build a lead from this point then, as Rory O'Shea might run slightly deep in towards turn 5 then, and manages to hold on to the position there. But Michael O'Donoghue and Conor Melia battling away. O'Donoghue has the inside line here as he now makes that move stick. Does Conor Melia have a response for it? Not this time. O'Donoghue gets himself now up into the top 3. Next in his crosshairs is Peter McCann, 1.3 up the road.
Jordan Kelly's gone here as well. He's looking to take the win. 2.5 seconds ahead of Peter McCann. Michael wasn't able to cut through the field with the same efficiency of Jordan Kelly. But I suppose that's where experience kicks in. Jordan, many a time a champion here in RTA. He has experience of cutting through the field. Michael will gain that experience over time, but Jordan just able to utilise it better here tonight. Logan Hoy gets past TJ Taff, and I think Taff has had a problem because he's losing positions once again. Remember, it was 2 spins in the earlier heat, and now he rejoins the circuit just in front of Evan Walsh, and Walsh going to try and get the move done as soon as possible. Won't be able to get it done now. Taft down to 15th at the point of recovery. Michael O'Donoghue, wow, that's wide through Galp. That's actually a mistake from Michael O'Donoghue. That's not a karting line, more of a rally cross one. As, oh, there goes Sean McGoldrick into the wall in the background. Heavy incident into the pit barrier, and that's going to be his day done.
Yeah, it is. And meanwhile, right behind them, it's Brian McCarthy, who gets his way now up into 7th place ahead of Jason Smith, but runs too deep, misses his braking zone there, and runs off the track. That allows Smith and Sean McClements to make their way back through the order. Sean McClements now trying to make his way back up through the order after that one. Smith now up into 7th place. But yeah, horrendous crash then for Sean McGoldrick coming out of the final corner. And was that a case of perhaps drivers running wide then? Was it a Constantina effect? I guess we might be able to find out here with a Gantry TV instant replay.
Yeah, let's have a look at what happened to Sean McGoldrick. We saw Michael O'Donoghue get caught out through Galp. I wonder, was it a puddle or something of the sorts? Does he run along the curb? Yes, he does. And then bang, into the wall. That's a very weird... Oh,
Tell you what,
that was close. That was too close.
Brian McCarthy's a very, very lucky boy there, that's for sure. But Conor Melia has Michael O'Donoghue on his tail. Then O'Donoghue runs onto the outside of the circuit. We've already alluded how there's no grip out there. Loses the position this time to Rory O'Shea. And now Dylan McClements has a chance. He's now moved up into 6th place in all of the melee going on behind him. And now he has a chance to see what he can do against Michael O'Donoghue.
Yes, as Michael was the dominant force in 1 and 2, Kelly the dominant force here in heat number 3, and as we just tip over the halfway mark, he leads by 5.2 seconds over Peter McCann in 2nd and Conor Melia in 3rd. And it is Rory O'Shea, Michael O'Donoghue, Dylan McClements, Jason Smith, Sean McClements, Brian McCarthy, Logan Hoy, your top 10. This is the battle for 13th you're looking at between Evan Walsh and Tony Stack, and Stack just looking for the move on another long time RTA runner in the form of Evan Walsh. Another man having a good race here, CJ O'Sullivan. He's in 12th, a good recovery from a bit of jeopardy earlier on, and a good race as well from Ken Doyle, who's up to 15th. There's contact made, round goes McCann!
Oh no, they will fall down the order now. Conor Melia though up into 2nd place, and Rory O'Shea now up into 3rd. Let's have a look back and see what happened there.
Yeah, let's see here. I think Conor Melia might have nicked the back of Peter McCann. McCann runs a little bit wide initially, then heading up the hill. Is there a bit of contact made? Netcode.
Either way, it sent McCann around. Whatever happened there, and he's had to spin the car back around and try and get his way back onto the circuit, which on the very wet grass is not very easy to do. But he managed to make it back out onto the track and is now in 9th place. Conor Melia, meanwhile, has Dylan McClements for close company. And in all of that, Michael O'Donoghue is now up into 3rd place once again. It's a roller coaster circuit, providing a roller coaster race here.
Yes, it is. It really has been something else. And Peter McCann doesn't really have a lot of luck when he starts high up, as that's Conor Melia who's gone running off. I wonder, has he picked up a little bit of damage from potential contact? I don't see any visual errors from visual damage on Conor Melia's car, but I mean, there could still be. But Jason Smith has promoted himself up to 5th spot. So once again, another change in the top 5. It's now Kelly, O'Shea, O'Donoghue, McClements, Jason Smith.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just changing around the top 5 every now and again just to see who's going to be still in there at the end of the lap. It does seem to change that often. Sean McClements trying to close in on Conor Melia, who in turn is trying to chase Jason Smith for 5th place here. Looking back through the field, Logan Hoy is trying to find a way past CJ O'Sullivan. Well, we might be able to see Logan Hoy at some point there, right in amongst the spray. He's got Adam McNamara right behind him, though, for close company. Through towards turn 2 we go, and this might be McNamara looking for a move up in towards turn 3, has to back out of it, thinks better of it on that occasion. He's got Evan Walsh right behind him as well, someone running a little bit wide there. It's Conor Melia out of turn 5. That's down at Torrey Vip. So once again, Conor Melia loses another position due to him going off the track and just finding there is absolutely zero grip out there.
Yeah, it's like Bambi on ice once you run off the circuit. There's just nothing. At least we have a little bit of a dry line, a little bit of a racing line on the tarmac, but once you veer off that, it's not going to be a good day for you. And Jordan Kelly's just going to stick to this dry line now for the remaining minutes of this heat and take home his first win of the season. Rory O'Shea looking to do the same in 2nd, but he's under a lot more pressure because he does have Michael O'Donoghue, 2-time heat winner tonight, right behind him. And I think every single time we see Michael right behind a car, he is running a different racing line to them, which could be an explanation for his success this evening, Kieran. He's doing something different and it's working.
Yeah, sometimes you do try something different, it doesn't work. Rory O'Shea might have tried something different there. He fully sent that over the over the lack of grip there is off the track, over the gravel. It's opened up the opportunity though for Michael O'Donoghue. Rory O'Shea has to go defensive. He defends the inside line, then moves back to the racing line. It's very, very close between the two of them there as Rory O'Shea holds on to second place. Michael O'Donoghue in third, and Dylan McClements now up into fourth place. Battle for second rages on there, and Rory O'Shea, well, if in doubt, flat out. That was certainly the mantra for Rory O'Shea there.
Yeah, he wasn't going to lose any more time than he had to, that's for sure. It was brave over the bumps by Rory O'Shea, and it's all worked out because he's still in front of Michael O'Donoghue. That's a slow Evan Walsh, I think, who's falling down the order down to 15th position. You can see Adam McNamara and CJ O'Sullivan battling. Oh, sorry, Brian McCarthy is the man with the trouble. That's a similar situation as we do see CJ O'Sullivan go around. It's a similar situation for McCarthy that we saw happen to Simon Hutchings, as that was all on his own. As oh, yeah, that's not a great look for Brian.
No, unfortunately not. Couldn't quite, like Jamal Gandor, keep it out of the barrier there as he'll look to rejoin it onto the circuit. But yeah, just I don't think there'll be too much damage for suspension. But there's Evan Walsh who's into the wall now. That's coming out of, that is the first corner. So let's have a see what happens here. He gets onto the curb, loses that back end, and absolutely locks up there. There's no slowing that car down, and straight to the scene of the accident.
Was there a touch of aquaplaning there?
Potentially, yeah.
There was no stopping that. Once it went, there was nothing he could do.
Well, he locked up, hadn't he? So there was absolutely no stopping the car. And now we're going to see what happened here to CJ O'Sullivan.
Yeah, it's the longest Gantry TV replay of the Gantry TV replays history, and you can see CJ. I'm not sure if he got tapped or if he spun it around, but certainly went facing the wrong way.
Yeah, nice 360 though, nice pirouette in these conditions. But yeah, that won't score him any points, any further points. That is in terms of position.
It might on Strictly.
Yes, he's got an 8 from me, that's for sure. Jordan Kelly then
7.
leading the way. 7 seconds lead for Jordan Kelly. Meanwhile, there's Logan Hoy, and there is Brian McCarthy, who, you don't need a front splitter. You don't need the whole front end of the car. Brian McCarthy running in the top 10 right now.
Yes, he is soldiering on, that's for sure. It would be a 10 for effort for Brian McCarthy. It would be great if we could get the guy who does the Strictly judges' names to commentate one of these races.
Rory O'Shea.
Kieran McGinley. That would be interesting. As very much a side note. That back to the racing action. Finley Melvin looking to try and get past Simon Hutchings. There is a right old gap between McNamara and Hutchings, but Hutchings and Melvin are going to create their own entertainment and battle through here. Yeah, Michael O'Donoghue has actually fallen off Rory O'Shea since Rory made that mistake, weirdly enough. You would have thought that Michael would have had the advantage, but no, Rory just finding his groove straight away.
Yeah, and this is what Jordan Kelly was talking about. If you can find that clear air and, the little spray that leading the way and having that clean air allows you to have, you can really get some good laps down there. And unfortunately for Michael O'Donoghue, he's just been caught up in this battling, and the likes of Rory O'Shea have not just simply let him through. He defended hard, and I mean, yeah, this is what the drivers can see heading their way down towards turn 1. Big accident in the background there. I think that's Sean McClements, who is absolutely right up into the air, and Sean McClements is out of this race. That is a big, big moment for him.
Yes, it's the same wall that was hit by his namesake, Sean McGoldrick. Is it a similar sort of incident? This is heading for the final corner. A Galp McClements runs slightly wide onto the curbs and just loses it completely. Oh, into the left wall, bounces back into the right. That's a ferocious impact from Sean. He's had a few ferocious impacts in his RTA career. I allude back to Hockenheim in the Super Formula Lights as Brian McCarthy, with his lack of front splitter, has finally ran into a bit of trouble.
Almost ran into the back of Logan Hoy there. So, yeah, he was very, very well done to keep it out of any trouble. But that allows the likes of Tony Stack to get a move there and make his way up a position. CJ O'Sullivan trying to make some moves as well. But I'll tell you what, Brian McCarthy's not letting this go without a fight. He might have no front splitter, no front end, but he's still right on the attack as we make our way down in towards turn 5 of Torrey Vip.
Yeah, it's certainly a commendable effort for Brian McCarthy, as Michael O'Donoghue has now got past Rory O'Shea as O'Shea runs wide, heading through the left-hander. As Kieran, I'm breaking up a little bit, so I'm going to hand it back to you.
Well, it's up the inside is Rory O'Shea. Loses the back end slightly there. That allows Dylan McClements then to keep a hold of that position as we make our way through in towards the final corner. I believe Jordan Kelly has started the final lap of this race. Rory O'Shea, we ride on board with him. He can see the flashing red lights just about ahead of him of Dylan McClements here. Pulls out of the spray, maybe just to see where the line is. But there is Jordan Kelly on the final lap of this race. And 2 podiums from him so far tonight, looking to try and round off what has been a very successful night for him, looking to try and make it a win to wrap up tonight's proceedings.
Yes, as a little bit further back, Dylan McClements is able to get past Rory O'Shea, so that's now Dylan potentially on for a 3rd podium from 3 races, continuing on his strong podium performance from last season, 13 podiums in the Formula Vs. And he's looking to make it 3 here in the LMP2s, but he's still got a little bit to survive as Rory O'Shea is knocking on that door. It's not firmly closed just yet. Jordan Kelly heading into Craig Jones for the final time this evening, and he has been phenomenal in heat number 3. It's a Jordan Kelly of old. He missed a good few races last season due to work commitments, and we missed his impressive performances. But this is definitely a similar Jordan that we saw in the Super Formula Lights Championship that we've seen in championships before, the GT4 Cup. Heading to the final couple of corners now, final braking zone now for Jordan, but the pressure's still on because we've seen many an incident heading through this final curve, and Jordan's been in many a drag race to the line, but there'll be no drag race on this occasion. It is an 8.1 second victory here from the man from Donegal. Jordan Kelly will take his first win of the season here in the main feature of the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup.
Yeah, brilliant drive from him. Managed to break the gap, managed to make his way through the field and never look back. Michael O'Donoghue, respectable 2nd place in the 3rd race tonight. Dylan McClements rounds off the podium, so it's exactly the same podium, just shuffled very, very slightly towards the end there. Rory O'Shea in 4th place, really good 3rd race from him. He needed a result like that. Jason Smith, fantastic race. He finishes in 5th place. Conor Melia in 6th place there. Peter McCann has managed to recover up to 7th place here, considering he was facing the wrong way at one point in this race. That's a really good, solid result for him. We're still battling for 10th place. CJ O'Sullivan is trying to hold back the attack of Tony Stack as we make our way through in towards the final couple of corners. CJ O'Sullivan then looks like he's going to hold on to a place inside the top 10 as we make our way around the final corner. Ken Doyle will look to try and take 9th place. Perhaps actually it might not be as over as I thought it was. Here comes the attack of Tony Stack, but no, not quite there. 6/100ths of a second separates Tony Stack and a place in the top 10. CJ O'Sullivan getting that top 10 spot.
Yeah, Tony Stack coming home in 11th. There was a bit of a rap thrown in there from MC McGinley alongside me, as Adam McNamara is in 14th, Simon Hutchings in 15th, Enda Farrell in 16th, Finlay Melvin in 17th, and then, well, they haven't rounded through yet, but McGoldrick looking to take 18th ahead of Toomey, Gandor and Sean McClements, who came back out for the last lap.
Yeah.
Or did he?
Yeah, I thought he might have. Yes, he is. He's just going to make his way across the line at the very least with that massive moment he had at the final corner. But yes, Jamal Gandor rounding off the top 20. And well, yeah, I feel the same way, Sean, about that one. He was running very well up in the top 6 there, top 7, I think it was actually. But unfortunately, he fell afoul of the same curbing that caught out Sean McGoldrick.
Yes, as Jordan Kelly takes the race win ahead of Michael O'Donoghue in 2nd, and it is Dylan McClements, Rory O'Shea, Jason Smith, Conor Melia, Peter McCann, Logan Hoy, Ken Doyle and CJ O'Sullivan. Good performances from Ken and CJ there to pick up a top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's Tony Stack in 11th place, Brian McCarthy in 12th, David Prunty in 13th place with Adam McNamara in 14th, Simon Hutchings in 15th place from way down the field. So really good result from him. Enda Farrell in 16th place with Finlay Melvin in 17th place, Sean McGoldrick rounding off the 18th place there, Dermot Toomey in 19th place, Jamal Gandor rounding off the top 20.
Yes, and then a little bit further down, it is Sean McClements, Philip Upston, TJ Taft, Kevin Joyce, Evan Watts, Johnny Hollywood, Gary Corcoran, Aaron Dalton, Rich Murphy, Jared Thornton, and then, of course, 2 non-starters in the form of Brandon McCahern and Ronan Doherty. Let's hear from your race winner, heat number 3, then Jordan Kelly. As Jordan, congratulations on the win. You said to us before that cutting through the field might be a little bit difficult. You didn't make it look that way.
Yeah, I think it was the 2 races before you learned how to drive in the spray. I think was helped the most. I think, but there was a few incidents I had too that helped me get past too. So I don't know. I'll take it when I'm getting it.
With the bit of a gap out front, did that give you a chance to learn a little bit more about this car, to get a little bit more used to it?
Yeah, well, it's just one of them. It's a very tricky car in these conditions, like, but hopefully we don't have too many wet races. But even if they are, it's always good racing, so that's the main thing.
First win on the board then. You took 4 wins last season and 4 wins the season before. Is 4 the goal, maybe, or do you want to exceed that?
Probably exceeded, obviously, but again, I'll probably miss a lot of races, I'd say. I don't know how I got lucky with some of the seasons to do them all, but we'll see how it goes, to be fair. But Michael seems to be the man with the pace this or tonight, so it's good to see somebody new coming in and challenging everybody, which is always a good thing.
Are you getting some flashbacks maybe to a certain Mr. Mangan back in the Mustangs?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Oscar, we always knew he was fast, but Michael is just blown our minds altogether. So it's always good to have new competition, that's for sure.
Jordan, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Evan.
And now over to the second place man with Kieran. It is Michael O'Donoghue.
Yes, we'll grab Michael O'Donoghue in. And Michael, can you hear us?
Yeah, kind of do.
Michael, 2 wins and a second place. Not a bad way, but talk about a baptism of fire for you in that reversed top 8 there. But you did manage to get a second place. I mean, talk us through that race.
Yeah, I mean, it's stressful at the start with all the spray in front of you. Like, it's hard to navigate, especially down to turn 1 when you have like 7 cars in front of you. Then as the race goes on, like, it's still like very, very hard to pass people. Like, you can't see in front of you at all. But like, a lot of people made mistakes. I made mistakes. So, but I was able to keep it clean enough to scrape a P2 anyway in the end. So happy enough.
Yeah, talk about scraping a P2. Almost full house of points on the board. That's not a very bad way to start the season at all.
Yeah, I was happy enough, to be honest. Didn't expect it, but hopefully keep it going in the next few rounds.
And speaking of the next few rounds, we've got Imola coming up next time around. Are you hoping for much of the same, a bit of a deluge out on track, or perhaps maybe you're looking for a dry Imola?
Maybe a bit of dry. The rain is a bit stressful now. Especially when you're behind the other cars, you don't want to like run into other people. So a dry Imola wouldn't be too bad, to be honest.
Well, let's see what happens there. Michael, great to speak to you. Congratulations on 2 victories tonight and that 1 second place. Very well done and a very good debut for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And congratulations on the 2 wins there and the second place. And then I'll hand it back to Evan to have a chat with our third place driver, Dylan McClements.
Yeah, Dylan, congratulations. 3 podiums from 3. Your thoughts on that?
I'm starting to feel a little bit cursed now by not getting that win, but it feels great to be cranking up them points and getting really consistent podiums. And I know I have the pace to get a win.
Yeah, wet weather, something that you have traditionally excelled in the past. Tonight, did you feel comfortable in the conditions?
I felt comfortable in the conditions, in practice and all that, but as soon as I had no practice in the spray, as soon as in the spray, I had no clue what I was doing, so it took me a while to get used to the spray.
And in terms of next week then, heading to Imola, is that a track you like?
It's a track I love. I hope it's dry, I love clipping the curbs and, just bouncing all over the place there. It's a really fluid track and technical track, but I'd love to see it being dry.
And one final question. Your brother felt he didn't get an awful lot of practice tonight, and he was complaining that he was only woken up by you 15 minutes before the race. Was that tactical by any stretch of the imagination?
No, definitely not. See, I went in just before the race and see if he was there, and then next minute I was sleeping, so I always kept an eye on him and see if he needed help in the ring, because he was struggling a tiny bit last night, but he's definitely on the pace.
Well, I've planted a plan for you if you ever need to outscore him on points. Just don't wake him up. But Dylan, congratulations on the 3 podiums. Great to have you back up on the pedestal.
All right, see it.
And that is the end of the interviews, folks. Some interesting comments there, actually, Kieran. It was great to hear sort of different perspectives from all the drivers, I think.
Absolutely, and yeah, it was great to actually chat to Michael O'Donoghue as well, because he definitely had the pace to absolutely charge away at the top of the order. But it just shows you in those reverse grid races, it's those drivers like Jordan Kelly who have done this time and time again, who have that experience of carving through that field in those early stages, that's come up what trumps once again. So yeah, it was a really good race from Jordan Kelly. I'm sure a baptism of fire for O'Donoghue in this one, but he certainly has the pace, at least at Portimao, to keep him and his wits about him, and almost a full house from him. A really good start to his season.
Yep, cracking job from Michael O'Donoghue. And then that brings the question, our driver of the day. We've only got one comment in on the stream chats. You can still get one in, folks. That is from Ronan Doherty, who says he finished P1 in every session he competed in, which, while it is factually true, Kieran, I think this has been a bit of a howler from Ronan to start the season.
Yeah, I think you have to finish to be classified P1. Well, you have to start anyway to be classified P1. Nevertheless, he did get that pole position, but there we go. And he has been awarded. Ronan Hederman has awarded him mistake of the day. So congratulations, Ronan Doherty. That belongs to you and nobody else. In terms of driver of the day, I've been looking up and down the order and seeing who, in situations like this, in rain chaos that we had, you're looking for drivers who really did go under the radar. If you didn't see a lot of them, it's probably because they were doing a really good job. One of them, I think, was Jason Smith. Now, he didn't have the best result in race one, but I tell you what, up into 11th and then 6th for the final race, perhaps?
I'm sorry. It has to be Michael O'Donoghue, surely.
Well, okay.
2 wins on his debut. Jordan even said it, but like, no one expected this. Can I be honest? I didn't expect this so much that I didn't even put him in my grid list. I forgot him. That's how unexpected it was. But I tell you what, no one's going to make that mistake again, because this was impressive. He's my vote anyways. I'm not sure if you have a different one.
Well, I mean, you sort of asked me there, oh, Kieran, who did you think? And then just absolutely slaughtered me. And I just thought, well, I'll choose.
Yeah, I don't agree with the Jason Smith pick, to be honest.
No, I heard Ronan in my ear going, ooh, which is normally not a good sign. But
he had a great Heat 2, though. Heat 2, very impressive.
Heat 3 was also impressive. He finished 6th there as well. So, or 5th, in fact. So, yeah, I'm happy to concede, though, because Michael, if we didn't know him before, know much about him before, we certainly know a lot about him now.
So I think we will go for Michael O'Donoghue as your Gantry TV driver of the day then for round number 1. That excludes him for the rest of the season, because we don't usually give it to front runners. So we will be back to our usual proceedings. But Mystery Michael is out on top, and he also has a H missing on his name in that graphic, but I won't say anything. But he is your Gantry TV driver of the day. A big thanks to Motorsport.ie, of course, Ireland's #1 place to find your motorsport news. Big thanks to Leo and team for sponsoring us once again here on RTA, and it's a pleasure to have them alongside us. Kieran, your final thoughts and conclusion on this evening then.
Well, what a roller coaster race that we had, and I'm very much looking forward to getting this started. We're back. RTA is back, and the LMP2 is back with a bang as well. Can't wait to see what entails us at Imola.
And yes, folks, you have to join us at Imola next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. It's not going to be one to miss. Thank you, Kieran, for joining me this evening.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be back.
And a big thanks, of course, to Ronan Hederman, as always, behind the scenes for providing us with the pictures. You can check out RTAVirtualMotorsport.com to check out the standings after the stewards' results have been completed. Please check out Motorsport.ie as well. But from us here at Gantry TV, that is all we do have time for tonight. As I said, join us next week, 9 o'clock in Imola. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Slán go fóill.